Hello, everyone. My name is Tatiana Vasilyeva. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant at Imifix Canada, and today we're going to talk about the new announcement recently made by IRCC about the cap on the number of international students that will be coming to Canada in 2024, about the attestation letter, and about changes to a PGWP and open work permit programs, because this announcement brought a lot of uncertainty, and I already hear certain myths associated with it. It's crazy. So let's break it down and take a closer look. On January 22nd, 2024, Minister Miller made certain announcements concerning international students. So the first one about the intake cap. For 2024, the cap is expected to result in approximately 360,000 approved study permits. So it's not the number of applications IRCC will accept for 2024. It's the number of study permits that they are planning to approve. And this is a 35% decrease from 2023. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to limit the number of international students coming to Canada in the next couple of years to hopefully buy some time to deal with the housing crisis and some bad actors, because it's lately been on the news a lot that students are struggling in Canada. They don't have a place to stay. It's more expensive than they expected. And also there are agents that fake letters of acceptance and things like that. So they're trying to deal with all of that all at once. There are certain categories of students that will be excluded from the cap. So study permit renewals will not be impacted. Those pursuing master's and doctoral degrees and elementary and secondary education are not included in the cap. Study permit holders will not be affected. If you have a study permit now and you're planning to extend it, you will not be included in the caps. So submit your study permit extension application and don't worry about the attestation letter. So each province and territory will get a certain portion of the cap, a certain portion of 360,000 approved study permits. And to implement the cap, as of January 2024, every study permit application submitted to IRCC will also require an attestation letter from a province or territory. Even though IRCC already requires students to have an attestation letter if they submit their first study permit application on or after January 22nd, 2024, the provinces don't have the process developed yet. So here it says provinces and territories are expected to establish a process for issuing attestation letters to students no later than March 31st, 2024. So most likely, if you're a student in the May 2024 intake and you haven't applied for a study permit yet, you will not make it to May 2024. Most likely, you will have to defer your start date, because provinces and territories have until March 31st, 2024 to establish the process, but we don't know how many weeks it will take for you to get the actual letter of attestation so that you could submit a study permit. And most likely you won't have enough time to submit a study permit application on time to be able to arrive in Canada by the time your classes begin in May. So my recommendation here is to give your college or university some time, because they were not prepared for this, just like you. This caught them off guard, and provinces and territories do not have the process to give you an attestation letter yet as much as they would like to. So give your college or university some time to figure this out. Many of them are pushing for excluding May 2024 intake students from this requirement, because obviously they don't have enough time to apply. They haven't applied yet. So maybe there is some more information coming our way as a result of advocacy initiated by colleges and universities. So if you applied for a study permit before January 22nd, 2024, and your application didn't get returned, you do not have to provide an attestation letter. If you applied on or after January 22nd and you did not have an attestation letter, your application will be returned and the fees will be refunded. If you got your study permit or you got a study permit approval, they're not going to revoke it because of this new policy, so you don't have to worry about that. They introduced certain changes to a post-graduation work permit program, and here it says, starting September 1st, 2024, international students who begin a study program that is part of a curriculum licensing arrangement will no longer be eligible for a post-graduation work permit upon graduation. And here they explain what it means. Under curriculum licensing agreement, students physically attend a private college that has been licensed to deliver the curriculum of an associated public college. So to be fair, programs at private colleges have never been eligible for a post-graduation work permit. So this policy talks about this specific arrangement where you physically attend a private college, but they deliver a curriculum from the public college, from the associated public college. So you are physically studying at a private college, but you get a diploma or certificate from a public college. And previously, those students were eligible to apply for a post-graduation work permit, but IRCC decided that it doesn't serve the learners well, and they are limiting this opportunity for the students to apply for a PGWP. To be fair, university programs are not affected by this policy. So if you study at a private university that has been eligible to deliver PGWP eligible programs, let's say you're taking a bachelor's or a master's degree at a private university and this program is eligible for a PGWP, it's still eligible. These programs at private universities are not affected. Only the programs under public-private partnerships or PPPs are affected by this policy. Graduates of master's degree programs will soon be eligible to apply for a 3-year work permit. Well, it's good for them because previously, if you took a 1-year master's degree program, you would only be eligible for a 1-year post-graduation work permit. But now it seems like no matter what the duration is, master's degree program graduates will be eligible for a 3-year work permit. And here we see the most disheartening announcement. In the weeks ahead, open work permits will only be available to spouses of international students in master's and doctoral programs. So this announcement doesn't include professional programs in medicine and law that Minister Miller mentioned in the verbal announcement, but this is what we have to go with. The spouses of international students of other levels of study, including undergraduate and college programs, will no longer be eligible. So basically, they're saying that spouses of students in those programs, in college programs and undergraduate programs, cannot bring their loved ones. And to be honest with you, I don't think that the person who worded it like this has been ever separated from their family, especially for 1 or 2 years. And even if those students decide to go to Canada and leave their loved ones behind, they are at a disadvantage because it's very difficult for international students to start their new life here to begin with. They have to adjust to so many new things. They have to figure out finances, where to stay, what's expected from them in the classroom, find new friends, find a job. And to that, they're missing their families. And I don't think that it will reflect good on their mental health. What's unclear for now is that whether those students who are already in Canada and they have to apply for a study permit extension and their spouses have to apply for a work permit extension will be subject to this policy. Because usually when students come to Canada with their spouses, they get a study permit and a work permit expiring on the same day. So if a student has to extend their stay in Canada, the worker, the spouse, has to extend their work permit as well. So here it doesn't say whether spouses of study permit holders can apply for an open work permit extension. But hopefully they can, because otherwise it will be too cruel. The interesting part of this announcement is that it says in the weeks ahead. So the measure has not been formally introduced yet. So if you're a student in Canada and you need to extend your study permit within the next 6 months, and your spouse has to extend their open work permit as well, apply now before the policy is formally announced, because in this case you can claim that you are eligible to be processed under the previous measures. Although the way it's written here doesn't look very good for college students, but maybe it's not the end yet, because colleges were surprised to see this policy. It doesn't look like they have been consulted before this measure was announced. So they're pushing back. They're trying to fight for their students, and they're looking for clarifications from IRCC. So what I would suggest for you to do, give them some time to figure it out, to talk to IRCC, adjust their policies, and then ask them, especially if you were planning to come to Canada in May and start your program, ask them what they can offer you, if they can defer your program to the next available intake, or if they don't have a deferral policy, what would be the plan for you, because this is not your fault. You didn't expect that, and they would know that this is not your fault. So again, if you submitted your study permit application and you included your dependents there, including your spouse, before January 22nd, it will be processed according to the old rules. If you got a study permit approval or an open work permit approval for your spouse, they will not be revoked just because of this measure. Hopefully, IRCC will be sharing more information with us soon. And meanwhile, I hope that you found this information helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.